Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining us from. This should be our first live here on YouTube. Yes, I've been meaning to do this for quite some time, but I do hope that with time we'll build um the audience as required because we will be doing this from time to time. Maybe two, three times a week. We'll take a look at some interesting stories for on the front pages of select Nigerian dailies. So first, let me introduce myself. I am a Gloria and I'm a broadcaster. I work with a radio station. Why is the network messing me up? Okay, so before we had that glitch, I was introducing myself. I'm a Gloria. I'm a mother. I'm a wife and a mother. Yeah. And we are trying to push ourselves out there. Some of us can be very shy. Okay, before we continue with this introductory part, maybe one day we'll do a live where we'll interact more. I hope someone joins me soon. But quickly, we are taking a look at some of the interesting stories we saw on the review today. So on Daily Trust, okay, I have two people joining me now. Thanks for joining my live, my first live. Thanks for being a part of this. We are now three. So today, I decided that we'll start doing a deep dive, like taking a deeper look at some of the interesting stories we saw on the front pages of the paper. And then there was this interesting one on Daily Trust newspaper. Let's take a look. Ekiti fake doctor to die by hanging. Okay, so he piqued my interest, and I thought we should take a deeper look at that headline. So I'll read up the story now. An Ekiti State High Court sitting in Ado Ekiti has sentenced one Olatide Temitope Emmanuel to death by hanging. I didn't know this happens for real in Nigeria. I thought maybe it was before nine they do that kind of thing. Anyway, the 48-year-old convict murdered one Fala Bosede. And on the 9th of June 2019 at Ajay Street, Otun, Ekiti, falsely impersonated himself as a medical doctor. So this fellow was claiming to be a doctor and he he unalived this lady. According to the prosecutor, the offenses are contrary to sections 316 and punishable under 319 subsection 1 of the Criminal Code Law of Ekiti State 2012. So to prove his case, battery, the Niger factor. So to prove his case, the prosecutor Kunle Shina Adeomo called 7 witnesses and tendered statements of the defendants, medical reports, and photographs of the deceased, among others, as exhibits. So they're trying to prove their case that this fellow actually murdered this woman. The defendant spoke in his own defense through his counsel, Adeyinka Opaleke, calling no witnesses. He doesn't have any witness to prove that he actually is a medical doctor. So, in his judgment, Justice Babajide Alade Jana, sorry if I'm ordering the name, no Yoruba, sorry, said the prosecution has proved beyond a reasonable doubt that the reckless action of the defendant caused her death on 24th June 2019. God rest her soul. So the defendant is accordingly found guilty as charged. The judgment of this court is that you, Olatide Temitope Emmanuel, be hanged by the neck until you're dead. That's the full story. So that's what actually happened. He posed as a medical doctor. See, as I did sweat like Christmas go this morning. He posed as a medical doctor and claimed, of course, that he was one. And then I don't know what procedure he performed on the woman because there wasn't any detail on that. Now she's gone. This actually happened since 2019. We are now in 2026. That's about how many years ago? 6, Abby. Yeah. So and now he has been sentenced to death by hanging. Like that rope could be in neck till he's unalived. So that's one of the interesting stories I found on one of the front pages for today. There were other ones. I tried to source them, but I couldn't get details on from the papers they were featured on. The one about Gumi alleging that the government knows terrorists, knows their location. Okay, these and other story. Okay, how the government too is trying to ease the pressure on Nigerians concerning the fuel crisis because of the Middle East war, and the federal government has released about 100,000 CNG kits. I tried to get details of the stories, but they haven't been featured yet. So maybe subsequently we'll do better. But this is our first live, so we don't expect it to be perfect. But thank you for making out time, no matter how short it is. Thank you. Hopefully will come as often as possible. And I also appreciate it. Please, in the comment section, please drop if you're familiar with Nigerian dailies and you want a particular newspaper to be featured on our daily newspaper review, the short ones we usually post, the shorts. Please, if you want any of the papers to be featured, let me know so I can know how to source them ahead. So if you drop a message today, possibly by tomorrow, we'll have that paper featured. I don't have a particular paper in mind. I just go and pick any paper of choice. So if you want a particular paper to be featured on our daily review of the papers, that short one of 1 minute or almost 2 minutes, please drop it in the comment section. And if there's any, maybe any other thing you would want us to feature on our live, or anything you want us to talk about, please do. And if you have any comments on this story I just brought to us, for those that are just joining us, I thought we should do a deep dive into some of the stories that were featured on the front pages of select Nigerian dailies for today. And the only one I could get a full story on was about a fake doctor who murdered someone in 2019. He has been sentenced to death by hanging. That's the major one we took, but there were other interesting stories too. There's this other one about two brothers who drowned because they were trying to escape from phone snatchers in Kano. That's a sad story. So by maybe in our next live, I don't know. I have to come up with a schedule because I'm a mother. I work, so sometimes I may not be able to come every day, but I wish I can. Maybe during weekends. Okay, weekends will do. Weekends, we'll set a time, possibly 12 noon Saturday or 1 p.m. anytime. Then we'll take a look at the interesting stories that made it to the front pages of the papers during the week. That way, we'll catch up on what happened. But please, your suggestions will be greatly appreciated. Whatever you would want us to feature on this this journey we're about to commence together, please suggest. Thank you and God bless you. Have yourself a great day. Bye for now. Okay.